one of the strange links that I keep finding between my thinking about games and looking at conspiracy theories and conspiracy theory worlds is the way in which communities can heighten the sense of clarity and purpose. So, I mean, let me back up a second. An interesting experience you can have when playing a game is even when you're arrayed against opponents, you have the same victory comes in the same terms. You share a currency of meaning and value. But then when you're on a team together, you have this remarkable experience of doing something with other people using exactly the same tools and exactly the same purpose, right? I think there's this weird sense in which like being in a basketball team is this artificial sense of total social harmony for a moment, right? Like at least united in purpose. And this feels to me like the experience of being in some of the communities that you describe. I mean, again, I want to ask you whether this rings true to you.
It does for sure, in the sense that individual choice making and individual agency is always complicated by, you know, the charismatic glow or kind of emotional contagion, and then in the influencers that we study in their groups, there's always this question of whether or not the rules of the game, especially with regard to how they are extending their messages, are actually throwing them deeper into their content without them choosing that content as per their values, right? So we see all of these people who are, we started using the term gaming the algorithm probably 8 months ago, when I started seeing somebody like Sayer Ji using QAnon type keywords, but not entirely endorsing the fever dream content. He was coming right up to the edge of something, and I think he was getting positive feedback in terms of follower counts and so on. And so there's this interplay between the game rules and group cohesion that seems to push whole masses of people towards content and value systems that they may not even fucking hold, right? They might not even endorse or have thought about before they actually were rewarded for being viral vectors for them.
I was thinking about that concept that it's funny you brought up teams last night. I was thinking about this in terms of, I have my own beliefs on things, but I very much consider Matthew and Julian part of my team, even though we don't agree on all of our philosophical constructs that we have. We come together because we see all of this disinformation and we're trying to point it out together. The question that I'll pose, though, to follow that, we had posited that there's a potential, or I had, and then we talked about it, a potential cult in Austin growing with all of these charismatic figures. And Matthew pointed out that it would be very difficult for a conspiracy theory-based medical freedom cult to emerge when you had so many charismatic figures at once, because who would be the leader? And there'd be some dominance hierarchy going on. And that makes me think about the conspiratorial mindset, because a victory for Matthew and a victory for Julian is a victory for me. Like when they book interviews, podcasts, to get press, like something happens, like my first action is, this is awesome. And I wonder how much that translates when you get into these more charismatic figures. A lot of the people we cover, the disinformation doesn't. Like, are they leveraging each other, or are they actually excited by the other people gaining more status? So being that conspiracy theories and gaming is your lane. So I would like to hear you talk a little bit about the techniques that some of these players use, and if there's room for is there a team spirit there at all, or is it always about that figure?
Let me try to come in from something sideways, because your question makes me think of something that I've been mulling over in the back of my head. So a lot of the times what I'm thinking about is that there's a goal we have, and there's a hard way to get there, and then there's a cheap and easy way to get there, right? Like this is in the background of like the stuff I've been writing about moral outrage porn. Like a lot of it's my worry is never that moral outrage is bad, but there's this quick way to get this cheap sense of unity if we all converge on one thing. And one thought I was like, in real, don't ask me what real communities mean, but in real communities, like togetherness, teamness is kind of hard, right? You share a common view, but you have to negotiate it. You have to like fight. There are little fights that break out. You have to renegotiate. You have to compromise. Parts of you agree and parts of you don't. Unity is a work in progress.
Yeah, you're describing our Slack.
And marriage and you know any other kind of collaborative thing.
Some institutions offer what look to me like prefabricated value standards, like a prefabricated value currency. So in CrossFit, this is like, you know, your number of whatever cycles or reps in the day. There in rock climbing, which I do, it's like, what's the highest grade you've climbed, right? In my world of philosophy, it's like, what's your citation rate, or what's the status of your institution on some ranked list? And I think one interesting thing that happens is there's a temptation to just take on one of these value systems, because then suddenly you get cheap and easy conversions with other people. If you all converge on the same value standard, then you don't have to negotiate. You just jump to the part where you feel unity. And what you haven't done is negotiated for your place, for your values. You just jump there, right? This is, and one thought I have, maybe, this is again in your turn, not mine, but like, is something like, one reason you might have to buy into a single charismatic leader is something like not just their charisma, but once there's a single voice that's already there, if you converge on it with other people, then your difficulties are gone. Then you have unity. Unity is really easy if you have one fixed. If we have to negotiate for all our values, it's a really hard moving, shifting progress. If there's one concrete figure out there that we can all converge on, then unity is easy. All you have to do is give up your own values.
Yeah. To kind of paraphrase you back to yourself, I have a note here that says a belief manipulator, so this could be like one of the charismatic figures we cover, builds a sticky system by easy explanations, which create a sense of false clarity, a simplified moral system that condemns everyone on the outside, thus creating the echo chamber effect, and the gamification so that people get pleasure from focusing on a narrow goal, as well as pleasure from what you call moral outrage porn.
It feels like there's this convergence of quick and easy unities. So you're converging on a quick and easy value. You're converging on a quick and easy set of moral rules. You're converging on a quick and easy set of who counts as an insider and who counts as an outsider. And you're converging on a quick and easy scientific belief, like science presenting explanatory mechanism towards the world. And a lot of the world we look at seem to offer all of those in like a package, right? So if you jump in, suddenly all the difficulties of negotiating your values, your morals, your world belief system, that's all gone. And you can talk to people near you about any of those things and you're converged.